All right, welcome back to A&M Sports. We're here recapping games 1 and 2 of Canucks versus Golden Knights. Matt, what are your takeaways after 120 minutes of action?
I I think game one, just Ryan Reeves just absolutely took over the game.
I just
Like his Corsi was like 100.
Oh.
Like it was just it was the Ryan
and
Reeves
you
show.
could really
in
tell
game
that
one.
Roussel was out of his element. Normally, he's the guy who's really driving the bus for the Canucks, but
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves eliminated him from the game. You could tell.
You know, I think the refs noticed too. They noticed that Reeves was just putting on too much of a clinic, that they had to just staple Roussel to the box for 10 minutes for just getting too close to him, because they didn't want to extinguish that fucking fire that was Reeves, man. Oh,
No, in
shit.
all honesty, I think that
What a clinic.
I really feel
No,
like
but-
game one can really just be summed up as the Golden Knights really look like they have a bunch of really talented guys in their top six who can score a lot of goals.
Yes.
And the Canucks defense really looked like it is Swiss cheese up the middle.
Oh, the Canucks defense looked like they were all playing beer league out there. Like they were 50
man.
years old, and they had a hard time turning around.
Even
skate.
in game two
like,
as well. Like
it
game two,
looked
the only
bad.
difference really was that Markstrom balled out. Like I didn't really see the defense get a lot
I think
better.
it was a combination for game two. I think it was a combination of course, Markstrom playing unreal like he always does. I think the Canucks got a little bit lucky blocking a few more shots, and maybe not just their defense, but as a 5-man unit on the ice, not the second period, but the rest of the game, Vegas had zone time, a lot of possession time, but they kept them to the outside, and they didn't really have a lot of high danger chances. At least
Fair
that's
enough.
from what I saw.
I
The
will
second
say though,
period-
just
the
in,
second period
in
they
quick
blew the Canucks
transitions,
open.
like with stretch pass or like lob pass opportunities.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
Hughes
I know.
pairing specifically, but just the Canucks overall, like
Yes.
that's where I
know.
really saw them getting caught, and that's where it's really like I feel like it's so dangerous with the team like the Golden Knights, where it's like that's what they want to do pretty
Yeah.
much. Like Mark just wants
It's
to take
that.
shots
I
and
know.
not get touched.
Yeah, Vegas
apparently.
Vegas like at least the first game, Vegas seemed like the perfect team.
Oh,
like
yeah.
transition offense, cycling in offense with possession. Defense was good. They were able to make breakout passes. I know
Even in
that-
game two though
they
too, right?
exposed the Canucks so
were
hard,
getting
man.
a lot of shots off the first two periods. It was just that they converted
No.
on 2 or 3 really early ones.
Um,
But Vegas
like,
defensively controlled, or probably was happy at least with how a lot of that game went early on.
But just that alley-oop pass that they kept talking about on the broadcast, like it was a factor though. Like they kept going to it. They would flip the puck over the Canucks, and they were just faster.
catching
Like
them
you got
flat-footed,
Tuck
yeah.
Tuck is so. Yeah, it's just flip up and it's gone. You're gone. They're gone, and they'll catch the Canucks flat-footed. And I think they must have like said, hey, like the Canucks have old defensemen, and Hughes can't make up for
Oh,
Tanev,
okay,
especially
okay.
when they're
But
pinching in the offensive.
Calder
No.
or what?
Like in the
yeah,
offensive
okay.
zone, and
No, no,
in the
that's part
offensive
of it
zone,
as
it's
well,
like
yeah,
they know Tanev is.
play off those
Yeah,
tendencies.
they know Tanev is gonna hang. Yeah, they know Tanev is gonna hang back because he's the defensive defenseman. They know Hughes is gonna pinch, so just flip it over
Yeah.
them. And Tanev's too
Like,
slow to get to
You're
the puck.
always
so
going to be weak
just
on the Hughes
easy.
side if the Hughes side is always pinching. Like that's the problem.
Exactly.
With, like when you only have one guy doing a role, when you don't when you can't diversify. But, like that's
Of
that's
course.
just an adjustment that needs to be made throughout the series. I mean, it still provides some kind of upside. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's just something for the Canucks' coaching staff to
yeah.
decide whether.
Game one was just not really fun to watch as a Canucks fan. It was like it wasn't like
They
it,
did.
It was weird because it wasn't
like
as if
5-0. It didn't feel like.
No, it didn't feel like that. But then I'm sure if I watched the tape back, I'm like, yeah, they deserved to lose 5-0 because they were just absolute dog shit. And I don't know, I think it's just because Vegas is Vegas and they're gonna be good no matter what because of who they have.
I think both games.
It's just style of play, man. Just matches up well against Vancouver
Yeah.
too. It's just they take advantage of our
That's true.
defensemen. And our bottom six just didn't have a good game. Like we were winning games in the first round because our bottom six actually came
But
to
I thought
play.
Roussel's line actually
And,
did decently in both, or at least underlying.
I'm talking in terms of just like that secondary
yeah.
scoring. Like we just I didn't really notice an offensive. Like it may have looked good on the underlying numbers. Like we probably, our bottom six may have had a better like Corsi than. Of course, I heard Reeves had a really bad underlying numbers in that first game, despite all the attention he was getting. But yeah, I just think it was just a domination by Vegas in Game 1, pretty much. That's all I got to say about that. The bottom 6, at least, that wasn't the difference. Game 1, the difference was Vegas's top 6 and defensemen just completely outplaying the
And then
Canucks' top 6.
just a flip
and
in
obviously
Game
their
2, pretty
defensemen.
much.
Yeah, Game 2, man. Like I wrote some things down. I'm like, Toffoli back with Pearson from that connection from LA, and then with Petey, it was instant
So
success.
we were talking about
like I
that
understand because I got an
earlier,
early
where it's
goal.
like, yeah, Tanner Pearson like needs to be like when he's the least skilled offensively guy. Like when the Canucks have that
That's
extra
how it's
scoring
dangerous.
winger like that. Just it's basically a Besser on 2
Yeah.
lines now, instead of just like having to play him on
Yeah.
one. And it just makes I think the whole team's so much more dangerous.
Like I was honestly skeptical of keeping I wanted to see Miller, Petey, and Besser together because like they were literally one of the best lines in the NHL. And then I was like kind of skeptical of Toffoli coming back and taking Besser's place in the top line because at least in the first game in Minnesota he did nothing, but obviously it came out that he was injured. But either way, I wanted to see also like Besser start turning up. But then this is where I have to give props to Green. Like for some reason, it's not just him. I obviously think it's the players coming back after a shitty game, and the Canucks have shown that they can bounce back really well. But they were like so much faster. They won like in the first period. They won like all the battles. They were getting zone time. They were getting good high danger chances. Like it just seemed like they were playing kind of Vegas's game against Vegas, and it was working. That was pretty much my first period summed up. Obviously, no Eriksson was a good job for Green because of the speed of Vegas. But like honestly, like I think Green realized like, hey, we can't win with Eriksson because Vegas isn't St. Louis. St. Louis played slow.
Yeah, St. Louis
Vegas
was that
played
that
slow,
really
and
fed into
Eriksson's
their
slow.
kind of like you need those guys that can grind it out.
Exactly, right? But now it's like this is a
that's an
series that you
excellent
need
adjustment.
Virtanen to start breaking into the next. You need Gaudette with his high motor, right? So first period was complete success for Vancouver.
It was. I missed part of that one. I honestly, I only got in with like 5 minutes left in the first, so I wasn't able to see everything.
Yeah.
But I will say one. I still feel like the officiating, like it wasn't a big story in Game 1.
Wait till we get to the second period, dude.
It still just felt inconsistent. Like it didn't feel like, especially in the first game. Like that's I guess one thing that I forgot to say about like the reaction to Game 1.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree too, man.
Calls, like there was a really soft one on Edler. Tripping.
Edler,
but I mean, you also did. I remember you did point out to me later that they did call that both ways, so that is fair enough. But
they did, but it was like, you know how they always talk about game management, and you know, like most times, like the power plays are going to come out pretty even for both teams because of that, you know, quote unquote game management. And it in the first game, it literally, I don't know if the power plays were like 3-1 for Vegas or something, or like because Vancouver didn't get a power play. I don't know if it was until the third. I could be wrong. I don't really remember, but I don't know. I'm not saying it was unfair officiating because I didn't really have a problem with it, like as I did in the St. Louis or the Minnesota series. Like I wasn't like screaming at my TV. But in game two I was. And I mean, yeah, in the second period, I think I don't know if it was the first penalty of the second period, but it was when Miller like put his lifted Marchessault's stick or something, or like just tapped his stick. And they called it a hooking penalty because Marchessault reacted.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I was like, dude, are you kidding me? That was awful.
Yeah. Nothing to say other than it's just like it just sucks.
I think because this they started calling like slashing penalties more. I think it was a couple seasons ago. I don't know. I might have been after the season that Goudreau like broke his finger because of a slash and he was out for like months or something, and then they changed like
I think there was also a thing with Giroux
and they
too,
started calling.
He was talking a lot about it with
And they started calling like all like every time like your stick taps like glove, no matter how hard or soft it is, you're getting a slashing penalty. And then everyone thought like, oh, it's just gonna be a regular season thing, and now like it kind of is, but you're also seeing these kind of really soft calls
Meanwhile,
in the
you'll
playoffs.
see a
And it's like really
cross-check in the middle of the ice.
uncharacteristic.
And it'll just be like, keep skating,
right?
boys.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm not gonna say that in the second period of Game 2 that that penalty, started get Vegas going, because Vegas came out of the gate pretty much just dominating Vancouver. I think the shots were like 8-1 in like the first 4 minutes of the period for Vegas. But I still thought that the Canucks did a decent job of like not giving up high danger like chances, and they were keeping the puck to the outside, which I mean, it's good that they're doing that, but it's also not good that that Vegas is in our offensive zone. But yeah, do you want to? Did you see the Besser penalty?
Yeah, that was again where it's like, I mean, the refs are right
Oh
that they
my
can't
God.
change the rules, but just because the rule is stupid is not a good excuse. Like
I'm pretty sure we talked about this before. It's like, I mean, that's a thing that you should be able to review, especially like you see it on the jumbotron
even
right
if you just
after.
don't review it,
Like,
why don't you
right
just all
after.
get together, pretend that one of you saw
Yeah.
it, because you all clearly know that it did deflect. So just
Yeah,
whisper,
exactly.
whisper. Okay. I'm gonna pretend like I saw it. Yeah. Okay.
If you
you call it.
oh.
Okay, sweet. No penalty. Like, it's not that hard.
I honestly can't believe it, because if you watch that clip, Kelly Sutherland, the fucking dumbass ref that has it out for the Canucks, he's literally like legitimately looking at it. I don't think you can argue that he wasn't. He was literally
I think
right
that's a
there.
problem that a lot of officials have in different sports, where it's there, because this happened in it blew a perfect game for an MLB pitcher once, where the umpire's just looking so hardly trying to like, I know that, like, I don't want to be fooled into calling the guy out even when he's actually safe. Like, I don't want to be fooled into thinking it deflects. So they look and they think it actually does, because they're, instead of reacting to what's actually happening, they're thinking, oh, this is probably what's going to happen in this situation. And it's reactive calling, and it's not, or sorry, it's like they're predicting what's going to happen instead of looking at what actually did happen.
But the thing is, it really bothers me, because usually on these delay of game calls, the refs usually get it right when they confer with
don't
each
they
other.
always have like that little huddle together,
I would
right?
say it's like a night. Yes, they do. And they did this time too. And I would say, like, honestly, I think they get it right like 90% of the time on these delay of game calls. Like, they're pretty good on these.
There's been so many times where I'm like, please get it wrong, and I'm always disappointed.
Yeah, no, and they right. So, and this one was like, the angle that Besser shot it at, or like flipped it at, it hit the middle of the boards. It didn't hit at the top of the boards where it's hard to see. It hit in the middle of the boards and changed direction to go out of play. I was at a loss for words.
It was baffling.
I'm like, really? We're up 2-1. Canucks are on the ropes right now, because Vegas has been dominating the whole period, and you're gonna give Vegas a power play when it shouldn't be a power play. Like, this is a crucial moment in the game that could have buried Vancouver 100%, and they do this shit. It's just it's awful. It ruins it for me. But
you just don't.
It ruins it for everyone. Like, it's just not right.
To see it. Like, it's just you've come too far. Like, this is too big of a stage to really be having this level of inconsistency, I feel like.
Listeners may be like, oh, these guys are just fucking going in on refs. They just blame everything on the refs. But this, like, trust me, but the thing is, I don't like talking about refs. I would much rather talk about a game where I did not have a problem
That
with
is
the
true.
refs.
Like, at the end of the day, like,
it's just
when they cannot be a story, like, that's everybody's happy. Like,
that's right. But this is like, dude, this is blatant. This isn't like, oh, it's a gray area where, oh, did he really check him from behind or not? This is off the boards, man. Like, it went off the glass.
It's just
and
like
it's clear
just
as
the
day.
type of thing that you can't argue.
And you're telling me four of the officials on the ice didn't see it hit the glass? Like,
if I were
really?
Besser was initially refusing to go into the box, and honestly, I wouldn't have if I were him. Like, this happened in baseball, I think, once.
He probably would have got kicked out then, or 10-minute misconduct.
Honestly, like, freaking, that would make the NHL like actually do something, because you think the NHL wants to have a 10-minute misconduct when they're in the wrong? Like, no, honestly, that's better.
It's
like,
just,
that would
a joke. It's a joke,
like,
man.
at that point, like, obviously,
right? Yeah,
you
it
don't
would
wanna lose
yeah,
it for your team, and like, okay, if they were like
especially
later
Besser,
in the well, I mean, that's assuming you're gonna get more power plays, man, because that's the only time. No, I'm kidding. But it was really just like there's no explanation for that. Like, you can't fix that kind of thing.
It's that one is like, if there's any inexcusable one, that one's inexcusable. Like, that one isn't up to the discretion of the ref, whether that's a soft
You
or
can't get that
an
one wrong.
actual penalty, like a soft slash or whatever. That's a potential game-changing play, and you could bury a team for that. And that's what just really pissed
All right,
me
man.
off.
Let's move on to something that's not
I was
gonna
screaming.
like, just jump your
Yeah.
blood pressure. through the roof.
I mean, I'm gonna. I mean, I think this goes for, I guess, all the teams that have played Vancouver so far, and it's. You always hear on the broadcast that look they're targeting Vancouver, they're targeting PD,
I
and they're
did hear that
targeting
a
Hughes
lot
and
on the
stuff, and
broadcast.
which I'm not disagreeing with, and I think there is extra abuse being given out to them, like.
I feel
and
like it's a normal
They
abuse
should be getting more
for
calls
like
than they
a team's best players, though. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of the way they talk about it.
Yeah, there's a standard,
like,
right? Which is more than
It is
more
I'm not
abuse than
disagreeing.
the
I'm saying
average
that
player
this
would
is
get,
true for
right?
a lot of teams as best players that they probably don't get enough calls.
You know what I think. I think a lot of these broadcasts are missing though is also how much like. I feel like these teams are also like Vegas and St. Louis. They're also targeting like Miller as well, like with big hits and stuff. It's just
People
you
have been
don't
taking
hear
some
it
runs at
because
him,
like
yeah.
Miller's not a small Miller's not a small guy. So he's like that hockey guy that's built for playoffs. Like so like they're not gonna focus on.
I
it.
think
But, like,
a
they're taking
big
runs at
thing
him
about
too.
it-
He's constantly jumping into
It's
the boards
just like
and
when
shit.
they talk about what's it called? Well, I mean, part of it is maybe just because like JT Miller also like hits more. Like PD doesn't like go out and hit the way that he does.
Of course.
So it's
of
more
course.
like, this guy's being forced. Like it's kind of like, it looks like, hey, the small guy's getting forced into it. The small guy who doesn't like being physical because that's maybe just the easy narrative that people can make. So I think maybe it's just because it stands out more. Plus, like, I feel like most
Of
of
course, I
Pedersen's hits in
understand.
general, or like when people try to hit him, are just so significant because it's either him going flying or him sending someone flying.
Oh, yeah, it's true. That is true. And I guess with Miller, it's kind of like the same thing with Tanev, where like Tanev literally gets hit every time he touches the
Tanev
puck,
is-
no matter what.
yeah.
Tanev will hit himself. He's inviting people to get hit, and that's something Tanev really needs to improve on. He needs to be a lot more quicker with his decisions, because it's gonna cost us pretty quickly
Tanev
here.
or he's just gonna keep playing until the rules catch up to him, man. He's just like,
Honestly,
or until the players are.
we need to start protecting
Hey,
Tanev.
you know what though? From Canada's perspective, though, every year the players are getting smaller and smaller, right? So it's getting no.
I guess.
I guess he's nuts.
And also, I'm gonna bring some old guy hockey mentality
Alrighty.
into this right now. If Virtanen really wants to step up his game, like, I'm not saying his game has to solely revolve around
he
him
needs
hitting
to be Kasperi
and like being
Kapanen, I
physical.
think. Yeah, like. Just,
But the problem is with him is he's lining people up, and then at the last second he lets up.
do you think he's maybe
He lets
has
up.
he been
It's
known
like-
to get like calls? Because I haven't watched a lot of Virtanen over the years.
No,
Do you think
like
he's maybe afraid to
Virtanen
get a call, or
no.
you think he's like?
Maybe he's afraid that if he gets a call for one of these hit that he wants to throw, he's gonna get
Well,
benched
the
by
other-
Green.
plus
Maybe
the other
that's
thing
what's
is,
in
like,
his head.
if-
But I'm pretty sure Green
I
wants
think
him
the
to
other thing
hit
is
though.
like what if
everyone
he
wants
messes
him
up,
to
though?
be
Like, he's not
physical.
in a position where if he gets suspended or something, he's done. Like, or in terms of like he doesn't have a lot.
True,
of,
but I'm at least all the ones that I've seen, either put in an article or like just watching the game. Like when I see him light up, I'm like, even if he hit that guy, like it wasn't late, he just had the puck. It's not
Yeah.
from behind.
I think
As long as you don't
that's-
hit his head,
Okay,
it's a
so
clean
that's
hit.
the type of thing. Same thing with like, like a guy like Matthews, where it's like just because a guy can hit, like being a hitter is also a mentality where it's like Nikita Zadorov, like on Colorado, where it's like that guy just
for
wants
sure.
to hit
100%.
things that move. Where it's like it's not just that he can. Like if
Yep.
that guy were 5'10", he would still probably be flinging that hit stick. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Where that's just part of it. Where
I just.
he doesn't want that to be his game.
And I don't
guess,
want.
or
yeah.
it just isn't him.
I don't like. I'm not saying that should be his game. I'm
You
just
wish he'd
saying
do it
like.
more?
If you're like he's taking himself out of the play by lining up people for hits and then going
Yeah.
soft on it. Like if he would, it's
You
gotta make a
you got to
decision.
go
Are you
around
gonna go
like
for the hit,
soft,
or
like
are you
you're gonna like
skate
play
your ass
around.
back.
Yeah, fair enough.
And this may be Harmon Dial might come out with like an article saying, oh, this is why Virtanen's defensive game is bad because he's fucking lining up people for hits and not hitting them, and then he's getting caught.
So they're just blowing by
he's
him.
getting
or?
caught in, his,
Yeah,
in
fair
the wrong
enough,
end.
fair enough, yeah.
Like I honestly don't know. Maybe it's like I just he needs to make it like same thing with Tanev.
You know, I
Make
will
quicker
say-
decisions. Make the decision if you're gonna lay
Or maybe
someone
he
out or
does-
not.
You know, some people right before they
Honest.
hit, they close their eyes. Maybe he's doing that right before, and the guys are just moving.
Maybe.
They're just giving them the
Maybe.
old 1-2.
No. Because if that was the case, I think Ritanen might break the glass with how fucking
no,
chunky he
no,
is.
no.
So like,
He's no,
Let's,
honestly, yeah, like that kind of like energy in the middle six, like with some goal scoring upside, like because that's
Yep.
Kapanen
need
had
it.
that in a
You
year
need
where
it.
he had 20 goals, 20 assists, and that was like an awesome year for
yeah,
the Leafs.
like I see, yeah. I see that kind of play, like Kapanen's kind of play
And,
where like it's just
pretty much
high energy,
every
high
team
motor,
has,
and
like,
Gaudette,
yeah,
like Gaudette's
exactly,
running
like,
around there
every
and
team
just
has these
yeah,
kind of guys.
he's just running around and,
you-
doing it, and they're not running around being dirty, they're running around and just finishing their check because that's
just-
their role, but they can also
just playing
provide
a little
offense.
angry, you know,
Exactly. That's all we want to see from Vert. That's all we want to see
like,
from
with
him.
an
Like
attitude, like
he hasn't
just
been
play
bad.
angry, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been bad in these play. He hasn't been bad in these hasn't been bad. I don't think everyone was bad in game one, but game two, like I didn't notice him for any of the wrong
No,
reasons.
absolutely
right?
not.
Like he had some really good flashes of offense by cutting to the net and stuff, but like you just round out your like he needs to round out his game just
he
like
had a-
Besser is
yeah,
with his
he's definitely
playmaking,
had
but-
like quite a few like decent. He's looked
No,
pretty
he has,
comfortable at
I've-
least in the offensive
yeah.
end. That's where I've noticed him most.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been more confident with his rushes, like actually getting good chances on net.
He just
and
looks
shit,
like a
which
normal dude out
we-
there.
We crave
And
to
it's
see
good,
from
right? Like,
Virtanen.
it's like
Exactly.
not like, oh man, gotta have your eye on him 24/7. It's like, eh.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the Canucks were on the ropes in that second period, but then the alien just decides to just that his goal is at the end of the second period.
This
You know
is-
which one
this
I'm
is
talking
what
about?
It was
The one.
where you just dangle back and forth with the controller.
Yeah.
You just move the
Like-
joystick back and forth.
The thing is, his, to me at least, the most impressive thing about that goal, it wasn't his deke around Leonard. It was taking that pass from
I was
Edler,
gonna
the way
say
he
the
took
exact
it.
same thing,
It was,
man.
it was so in close to him,
Mhm.
but also behind him. He takes it,
One
and with
motion,
like
just,
in an instant, he's
Yep.
on the deke. Like it was incredible, and the way he found that open space too was like,
smart
how
cut.
did you like? A regular player would not find that open space. Like he took it, and I think this may have been like, I think this is PD's best game of the
Yeah,
playoffs.
it was a huge night from him.
Yeah, it was a treat to watch him fucking do
Oh,
what he
man.
was doing out there, man. I'm so happy. Like I was just in shock being a Vancouver fan, seeing someone like we had the Sedins, like of course, like no one's discounting how great the Sedins were at playmaking and everything, but there's just something different. There's just something different
It's
about
a little bit of
and I
takeover.
just
you know?
like I know I'm just I'm sucking his
Oh,
dick right
buddy.
now, but I can't not seeing the Canucks in the second round of the playoffs, and you got a player playing like that. I just like if this was Matthews on Toronto in the second round of the playoffs, fucking balling
man,
out like this,
I
like I would think like the whole hockey world would be fucking
Buddy, that-
like on fire, like it would be
he,
insane.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that he normally balls out during the playoffs. He's like half a goal a game. So no.
But he's played like 25 playoff. Dude, I'm gonna hit you with
Yeah,
a stat
okay.
real quick here. I think Matthews has I don't know if he has like 20 something playoff
He's
games.
had
and
one bad
got, I
playoffs.
don't
He had
know
the
how
one
many
against
points.
Washington where he was under.
No,
a
no, no.
point per
I'm
game.
not saying he's at a bad. No, I'm not saying he's at a bad playoffs. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying PD's played 12 games and he's within 3 points of beating Matthews.
Okay.
So
Well,
let's
Frick, you got me there, bud. No,
No.
he's been
It's just-
balling. It's been
nice.
insane to watch. But now to turn
Yeah.
it forward for a little bit. What do you think?
You-
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go for it.
No, I was just gonna say for the Canucks, it just seemed like the early goals they got in this game was what gave them energy and the momentum they needed to just sustain their own
It
game,
really
like
felt
just
like-
get into their own game
Yeah,
and their own
like, I don't
groove.
know. Like there were a lot of moments where it felt like
Right?
they were maybe an evenly matched team, like after the initial goal scoring outbreak.
Yeah.
Or that like maybe they were just kind of holding on a little bit, but they were able to use that like kind of like they built up that
Yeah.
lead and they just held
Exactly,
on.
like-
They were able to stay within themselves. They didn't have to force anything. And
Yeah.
they got better as the night went on, and I think you saw the opposite
Like-
from Vegas after the second period.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, the Canucks were like holding on for dear life, like quite a few times during the game, especially in the second period. But just the early goals for the Canucks got them into their game, and then when they got into their game, like they seemed just like they were just holding their own and actually getting chances, which we didn't see in game one at all. And I think the huge underlying factor in all of this, Reeves wasn't good. Reeves was a non-factor. We didn't see Reeves at all. Where did he go? He disappeared.
I don't know, man. Maybe just.
To be fair, Roussel disappeared too.
Yeah,
Roussel
it just goes to
too.
show it doesn't matter.
And it's because he had 6 minutes of ice. He had 6 minutes of ice time. I know it does. Like that's the thing. It's just a battle of the top 6
so far.
I think.
I mean,
and
who knows how game 3?
So far,
game 4,
and the thing is, in the long run for this playoffs, the bottom 6 for Vegas might take over, and that might be the deciding factor.
Yeah, whichever team
But
has
as of
better,
right now,
third line, fourth line. That's going to be big to see, especially with like Mott's emergence lately, and that your bottom 6 also turning up.
Like the first 4 games of the St. Louis series though, it was a top 6 matchup. It was top 6s going at each other. The top 6 won it for games 1 and 2 for Vancouver. St. Louis, that was their story for games 3 and 4, and then Canucks were able to get over the hump in games 5 and 6 because their bottom 6 actually scored us a couple goals.
Yeah.
So I think if this is going to be a long series, the Canucks are definitely going to need some step up here. But Toffoli was a big boost. I'll say that for sure. I think we're underscoring how good Toffoli was in his return.
How much do you think that changes?
He just added a dimension.
Do you think like how much do you think that's changed the Canucks' odds of winning this series?
I don't know. Like it increases a bit. I think the main way that Toffoli is gonna change the tide here is what he brings on the power play, because like the whole playoffs, it's just they've had Besser on the first power play, and they were used. I think like the Canucks use a few different formations, but Vegas in game 1, even St. Louis started to catch on when the Canucks went 0 for 7. Like they started to read how the Canucks were gonna be all their formations and shit. Like the Canucks can figure out how to get even into the zone. But now that Toffoli is in the mix, he just brings a different level, like a different dimension on that first power play, because he facilitates from below, like behind the net pretty much. Kind of like Gretzky. No.
But it's like that's a really dangerous area to have the puck.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you can get it in a slot for so many
exactly.
Any pass.
And he's good. He's really good at passing. Yeah, he's good at passing from back there. And I think it was, it tore Vegas up in game 2, because they were just all their video on the Canucks in the playoffs was just they didn't have Toffoli, so they couldn't really prepare for it. So. It was good. We just Canucks need to get back to it being cool. I think Vegas is.
My thought is like it does make the Canucks a lot more dangerous with their top 6 players. It does go to the next level of defense. But I think it's like the issue with the defense and like where it's like your faith in. I think the faith in Vegas' defense to contain the top 6 versus Canucks' defense is like. We're gonna need to see a lot of big goals from Markstrom, and he's gonna have that. He's gonna have opportunities to have.
And it's not even just like Vegas' defensemen that are a better defenseman and can shut down. It's like Vegas' top 6 are much better defensively and can shut down, much like O'Reilly shut down Vancouver's top 6 for a while. They can do that exact same thing, except they got 2 top lines that can do that. And Vancouver,
honestly, switching up your lines like this, I think this makes you a little better defensively too.
It does. It brings a lot more balance to the lineup. It's just the only way Vancouver is going to shut down Vegas' top 6 is if we're scoring more goals and we're not shutting them down. When we're playing defense against them, we're not shutting them down. Like they're skating
I really feel like
offensive
it's going to come to like your shooting percentage or like your shots, like one of those two needs to be a lot higher, like to make up for that difference. But it's possible. I mean, you saw it with like a performance in game 2.
Exactly. And again, like you said, it also comes down to Markstrom, and just if Markstrom can just play a lot,
Doesn't
can
matter
play
how bad your defense
at
is,
that
doesn't
standard,
matter.
and
Yeah.
and yeah, exactly. And if Lehner or Fleury, is just like they can play good, but not as good as Markstrom. Is pretty much what I'm trying to say. It's like the Canucks top six needs to be able to score a few goals on them, and Markstrom just got to let in one less, and that's all. All right, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be back at it with a review after games 3 and 4. Stay safe, guys.